Hey guys, we are back with episode 2 of season 3 of Aeon Flux. Again, the seasons are out of order. It'll make more sense if you watch them in the order I recommend, and then you watch the earlier seasons afterwards. The earlier seasons have no dialogue and they're very disjointed. There's not any effort put into continuity or plot. Not that there is with this series, but the point is each episode in this season, this season, not series, is self-contained. It has its own narrative. The previous ones were all animated very quickly by like a very small team of people, so they're very abstract. Half by necessity, but also just the general vision of this. I mean, it's just nuts. So, we open on a derelict building. This guy's playing Fallout. He's got robotic legs. He's got creepy insectoid antennae hairs poking out of his head. And he takes off his sock, which has eggs stuck to it. And he pours something on the eggs. And wasps start hatching out of them. This series is very surrealist, if you hadn't already picked up on that. They're very surrealist. It's a surrealist science fiction dystopian narrative at its core. But it doesn't just lean on the visuals with nothing behind them. The way it's constructed is just so singular. Like, I can't compare this to anything. The way you figure out if a piece of art is good is you can't really compare it to anything directly. Like, you can't say, oh, this is like A plus B, you know? Yeah, the art style in this can be compared to an obscure German artist, but that's just the visuals. That's just the actual art style. The narratives and the concepts, they're drawn from I don't even know where, you know. So this guy's like, your little Trevor friend has captured a rare creature, some sort of half-divine thing, some kind of Nephilim, half-angel, half-human, creepy chimera. And he goes, I know Trevor has it. And he goes, we had a deal, you know, I would pay you. And she goes, oh, I don't remember any deal. It's not like there was anyone officiating this. There's no accountant. She's basically like, I just trolled you, bro. I'll just take what I want. Fuck you. You're a nasty, greebly fuck. And he goes, well, there's not just a female that you're compelled to rescue because you're a rogue ANCAP woman. There's a male as beautiful as the other. Meanwhile, the floorboards are vibrating. Something's coming. Because nobody wants you, you golem fuck. Who does? He blasts her with his media beam. Oh no! Fake images! Raped into my brain! How could you do this? And right when he's just about to be fucked by Aeon, his little mechanical greeble egg has hatched into some kind of nightmarish parasite worm. And he releases all his little drones. And he goes, no, don't kill her that much. I think that thing, that little worm, was also his. You know, it was his way of creating a distraction while he escaped, right? But the distraction was too much. Then we cut to Trevor. He's watching all this. He's bored as fuck, man. This guy's on the King Haggard pill. He took the Haggard pill. He's like, nothing entertains me. This is all... I see through all of it, and it's nonsense. And they're like, sir, shouldn't we do something about this insane shit? And he goes, I don't care. He's fucking depressed. He's like, doesn't matter. Who cares? And then we cut to the streets of New Berlin. NU-Berlin. Ah, yes, New East Berlin, the communist utopia. Or actually, no, this is the western side of things. This is the ANCAP utopia. So there's a new character here we've never seen. She's got Aeon's little jacket, and she's rubbing against it, so it's Aeon's little lesbian fuck toy. And this bird hits her window, and the guys are laughing, these delinquents. They've got slingshots and everything. These guys are like the Jet Set Radio Future characters. But she's like, there's no future for you. Then the Soviet goons grab them, or the ANCAP, the corporate and military employees. Yeah, they've got a corporate logo. Yeah, okay. Yeah. But she's sympathetic. She's got a mother's instinct. She's like, this bird is hurt. And on top of that, it's got a message. Isn't that interesting? It's a carrier pigeon. So, the thing tries to bite her, but she's like, oh, it's okay. And here's the image. It's of a bird man. A man she can save. A man she can be a surrogate mommy to. Oh, isn't that epic? There's a man in distress who's a half-angel bird person. This red-haired chick is sympathetic to her. It's her weakness. And then, of course, Aeon shows up and she goes, this is serious business. There's some nasty shit going on, and the bird has bit her. It's got her blood in its beak. It's maybe infected her with something. Some bird-borne disease is in her blood. That's the implication. And she goes, oh, I left that here when we were scissoring last Friday. I just needed some relief. I'm really grateful that you were willing to provide that. She goes, oh, you're still pretending to be straight? She goes, yeah, it's whatever. The guy doesn't matter. He's like a plot. He literally exists just to be a plot point, which is kind of funny. And Aeon's like, look, to save this creature who is being imprisoned and abused by a nasty, totalitarian fuck, I need you to translate something for me, because you're a translator, you're a linguist. Interesting that the linguist is weak to being infected by bird viruses. It's kind of interesting. Aeon's like, okay, I'll improvise something. I've got a pen. She takes a pen and breaks it in half. This whole episode is about this linguist character and her sort of arc. And Aeon saves the bird that infected her by breaking a pen in half. My God, that is so fucking good, man. And she kind of scowls at the boyfriend. She's like, ugh, I'd rather fuck this half-angel dude. He looks way hotter, especially since the bird has infected me with its avian flu virus, or whatever the fuck. So she's like, oh, I gotta translate these Semitic runes, but I'm distracted by this bird, man. He's so sexy, man. She's going on for affinity. She's going on E621. She's like, oh, I'm gonna search Birdman. Meanwhile, Trevor's looking at some very creepy amputee talking through the wall at somebody on the other side. That will come into play later. And he's comparing the two societies. He's like, here in East Berlin, we brutally educate everyone and try to sort them into societal categories based on our epic, totally flawless, hubristic evaluation of human psychology. That means we know everything and we're basically God, so that we can tell everyone what to do without any guilt. And whatever we decide for them, whatever role in society we decide is best for them, that's actually perfect. And if they're not happy with it, then that means they're flawed. And then the opposite end is Aeon's society, which is just do whatever you want, but you're responsible for yourself. If you don't like your life, it's your fault. Sorry, but I think that's true. This whole series, in a way, is about Trevor's delusion of power. Power has deluded him into changing his opinion about how people should live, or vice versa. There's some idea about how people should live, and he's so committed to that his whole idea of exercising power and how power should be distributed has been warped. I mean, this series, man, I could make 10 videos about this, but I'm only going to make one. I may not be here for very long. I've only got so much time to say what I want to say. So here's Aeon in her funny globular little mushroom-shaped apartment. It's like this whole society is like, we took shrooms and realized we could be self-actualizing an individual. And instead of a giant mechanized communist society, we just needed to take some shrooms every now and then. And anyway, their buildings are contrasted. Now this is creepy too. The bird has little nanobots on it, or little fleas, and then it transforms into language. That's nuts, man. The creepiness of that. It's like the bird infected her with something. The dove with the olive branch. Birds as, there's a crazy fucking theory that's straight up, I don't believe it on any level. I don't even entertain it as a narrative because it's so stupid. But it's like, birds are fake government drones that charge themselves on power lines. I've read that theory. I know about it. That's bullshit. And I think this series is trafficking in it. If that theory didn't exist before this point, then that's bullshit. But what's interesting is the bird bit her. It infected her with something. Maybe. She's obsessed with birds after having saved that one out of sympathy. And the bird's little mites that were crawling on its feathers transformed into characters. They transformed into runes. They transformed into letters, into language, in her little dream that she just woke up from. This scene's nonsense. It's just her breaking up with this guy. It doesn't matter. It's again, this, we're going to call him Nipples. Nipples is basically just a time delay, because she's trying to rush to finish this thing for Aeon. And it wouldn't have mattered if this guy showed up or not. She overslept. She got bird flu, and she got, diverted from her purpose. Language distracted her, turning her into a thrall, a worshipper of language rather than a master of it, rather than a translator of it. Or that was just her personality flaw. That's the real implication of the show. My Mad Men interpretations aside, the real interpretation that the show is trying to show you is that this character, is a friend of Aeon's who's a little too sympathetic. She got too attached emotionally to this bird. And by extension, to the subject she's trying to save. And Aeon's like, what the fuck, man? I gave you this task, this is really important, and you fucked up. Now I'm going to have to drag you with me, and you're going to have to translate in real time, and the bird is flapping to be saved. God damn. There are, there are groups of movies considered masterpieces that you could combine, and I would say even combined, they're not as good as this. If you combined Blade Runner and Solaris, both versions of it, and this is better. This is better because it's so concise. It's so compressed. Its biggest flaw is you have to watch it multiple times. It's not one of those things where it's like, well, you notice a few things on a subsequent viewing. This is one of those things where, yeah, you actually do have to watch it 3 or 4 times. That's the cost that you pay. You have to decompress it in your mind. I'm noticing new things just watching this now. Of course, Trevor's trying to be a bird. He's trying to be an angel, blah, blah, blah. He's being very camp. I love his facial expressions in this. He's like posing for the mirror. He's like, I'm Narcissus. I love my own face so much. Oh, yes. The lips and mouths in this. Most animated shit nowadays, they don't put 1/10 of the effort into the whole show that these animators did into just the lips and teeth and mouths in this. My God, man. You believe what the characters are saying just because of how well their mouths are animated. That's all it takes, a little bit of effort. By a little bit, I mean probably hundreds of hours of, drawing different cells, but, it's a lost art. Ooh, but Ilbrin has snuck in. There he is, the epic bee man. The wasp man. He's not a bee man. It's important. Bees and wasps, very different things. Wasps are violent. Bees are violent, but only if you fuck with them. Wasps are just assholes. Also, wasps don't make honey. I'm pretty sure at least some species of wasp actually find decaying meat and feed it to the grubs, the wasp grubs, whereas bees make their own honey out of flowers. I'm sure there's probably some wasp species that do that. I know there's paper wasps, but that's referring to how they make their nests. The reason I'm thinking about this is because the fact that our main antagonist in this, other than Trevor, is a wasp dude. He's some wasp creep. And kind of like the last villain in the show, was a sort of well-meaning, blonde-haired, blue-eyed guy. The villain in this show is a failed villain. Episode 1 of Season 3, we have a failed hero. This, we have a failed villain. And what is his moniker, his creature moniker, his little spirit animal? It's a wasp, as in white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, right? And he's this gray-skinned, greebly fuck that's obsessed with fucking angels. Previous series, it was some militaristic guy who was obsessed with having an epic, honest, pure government and an epic society, you know. He was obsessed with, we'll root out injustice, you know. And they're both different types of hubris. Maybe they were, you know, maybe there's some well-meaning grains of intent in both of those characters. More so the guy from the first episode. But regardless, it's how they execute their plan, and it's the fact that they're ignorant. And they seize power despite their ignorance, which is never a good idea. If you're an ignorant person, even if you have the ability to seize power, you probably shouldn't. You should probably calm the fuck down and learn. You know, spend a lifetime or two learning, rather than just, you know, grabbing the bull by the horns, as the phrase goes. Maybe the bull will gore you to death. So, this chick is telling Aeon where to go. She's struggling. She's making all sorts of mistakes. Aeon's like nearly dying because she fucking overslept. Meanwhile, Ilbrin's tied up Trevor, knocked him out, and now he has access to the Seraph Chamber. She's trying to decode all this shit on the fly, and then she decides, fuck it. I'm betraying Aeon. Because I want to fuck this little angel dude. Because I got bird virus in my blood. I'm mentally dead. She betrays Aeon. But I don't think it was anything biological. I really do think that the show is trying to say that this woman's character was the real flaw. The real flaw was her personality. That was the problem. She couldn't complete the mission because she was too sympathetic to the subject, to the point of mistaking sympathy or empathy for attraction, or conflating the two. She felt both, I think. But they were so overlapped and merged in her mind that she fucked up the mission. She couldn't remain objective, and she blows it. Well, she sort of blows it. I mean, you'll see. Aeon's like, no, you're just abusing the thing in a different way. This thing is not meant for you. It's not supposed to be with you. You're attracted to it. That doesn't mean that attraction is right. She's wearing Aeon's jacket in this. She's like Aeon's shadow. It's brilliant. And Aeon's like, all right, my patience is up. Fuck this. I'm going to shoot the gun out of your hand. The light swinging like that. It's so noir. This series indulges in a lot of noir tropes, and with the creepy, artistic, exaggerated morphology of the characters, their elongated bodies, like it's almost like they've been in outer space and then come back to Earth. And their limbs have lengthened because that's what microgravity does to you. Very creepy when you add the noir lighting onto it and these sort of detective plots. And then you insert surrealist, occult weirdness into it. This series, again, you can name what it draws from and it doesn't diminish it. It doesn't make it like, oh, this is like, you know, True Detective plus, you know, Young Sheldon. Like it's you can't easily identify what its inspirations are. And that's what makes it brilliant art. Ilbrin has almost caught the female, and this woman's almost caught the male. They both were pursuing these angels for the same reason Trevor was. But Ilbrin didn't keep his wasps in check, and one of them kills the female. You'll notice her GI tract is missing. There's a void in her abdomen. That comes into play later. There's no GI tract. These things are not human. They're alien. They have no guts. It's just muscle and bone. Very strange that that's the part of the anatomy that's missing. They've cleansed themselves so much, they've evolved to just not need a GI tract. They're angelic. They're brain-based, pineal-based things. They don't have a gut brain, whereas our main characters do. They're thin, they're evolved, they're disciplined. I love it. Trevor goes, "You had no right to do this. Go to hell." And she goes, "Why don't you fly me there? You're not flying up to heaven by pretending to be a half angel. You're going the other way." And this ending scene, man, remember when she had a dream about the pigeon she saved? And it had mites on its fur, and it bit her. This guy has a mite, an alien parasite. And her skin is rotting. She doesn't care. Icarus flying close to the sun. Adam and Eve again. Man. God damn it, I love this series. Anyway, guys, that's the end of the episode, so I'm going to end the recording. Thank you for watching. There'll be more to come very soon. And as always, peace out, Trevor.